Most young investors buy index funds because they feel safe. You get diversification, hundreds of companies, different sectors, and the fact that it's easy. You're not having to pick the next Nvidia. But here's the problem. The biggest companies in the index are increasingly tied to one theme: AI. And it's about to become even more AI linked because the biggest AI companies, OpenAI, Anthropic, SpaceX, are preparing for the biggest IPO the world has ever seen. And of course, some index providers are already changing the rules to allow these mega IPOs to enter the indexes faster, which creates a strange contradiction because people used to invest in indexes because they're easy, because they're safe investments. But they're now about to have the most hyped, most complex, and some of the biggest companies in the world. And SpaceX explains exactly why this is a little bit messy, because its valuation is targeting 1.7 trillion, yet last year it had a net loss of $5 billion. So are these mega IPOs going to be allowed into your index? And if they are, what does that mean? So today, we investigate. So the reason why this is such a big story is because of scale. Previously, IPOs would list, it would trade on the market, it would gain momentum, it would post results, and the market would figure out whether it is really worthy of going into an index. But things have changed since the old days. But this new wave of AI-linked IPOs are coming to the market much different. They're coming to the market larger than all companies ever did before because they've had more time in the private market to gain private investment, to gain scale, all before the final investment fundraising round, that being an IPO. And just to give you a sense of scale, SpaceX is coming to the market with a reported 1.75 trillion valuation. Yes, 1.75 trillion. Now, I'm not going to get into the debate about that until later on in the video. Anthropic is coming to the market with 965 billion valuation, and OpenAI is 860 billion. So these are not small companies that we are talking about at all. So these are not just your ordinary IPO. These are mega cap index events, which is creating a genuine problem. Because if an index doesn't include one of these companies within their fund, then they're not doing the one job that they're designed to do. And that is to track the market. But if these stocks get added to the index too quickly, then passive investors get pulled into the stock before the public market has even decided to test this company through valuations, its results, and how it's going to perform. And this is why index providers are being forced to respond, because old IPOs used to come to the market much earlier, much smaller, and much simpler. Look at Airbnb, for example. But now, these companies are coming to the market much later and with a huge amount of debt. So what exactly are index funds doing about this? Well, this is where things begin to get a little bit interesting because the key indexes are now changing their rules for these mega IPOs. Now, there are four main index providers in the market, and one of those being the FTSE Russell. You probably never heard of the FTSE Russell before, but you definitely would have heard of the FTSE 100 or the FTSE All World. They're the ones which create them, market them, and put them onto the exchange. And there's been something really interesting going on with the FTSE Russell because they have just released their new fast track entry requirements. Now, if I put this document to you, I want to analyze one thing. And I want to show you the part where it says added after the close of the 5th trading day. This essentially means that IPOs, once they are listed, after 5 trading days, can be put onto the index. Meaning they can get on extremely fast, because before it used to have to complete an entire quarter before it was even screened, vetted, and potentially put onto the index. Now, their main reason for this is it improves market representation, and they're not wrong, right? So it's supposed to be an index which is diversified and has entire representation of the entire market. But what's interesting is that other index providers are doing the same thing. The Nasdaq, which is most commonly known for the Nasdaq 100, which tracks the top 100 tech companies, are doing something very similar. If I draw your attention to this document, it says that their fast track update took effect from May 1st. And under the new methodology, if a newly listed company ranks inside the top 40 and meets all of the criteria, it can typically be added to the Nasdaq 100 after just 15 trading days. But it takes it one step further, because with the Nasdaq 100, which was traditionally only 100 companies, if it gets added to the Nasdaq, it doesn't necessarily have to remove a company. So it can technically be the Nasdaq 101 or even the Nasdaq 102. Be a hell of a lot interesting if we see the Nasdaq 103 when we have OpenAI, Anthropic and SpaceX added onto the index. But next comes the S&P, which is most commonly known for the S&P 500. They're not doing this at all. They have decided against fast-track entry IPO requirements. They are just saying that they do not want a list full of the biggest company. They want screened quality companies within their index. So you will not be seeing SpaceX, Anthropic or OpenAI on the index anytime soon. And to be honest with you, when you look at this point in particular, it begins to make sense.
Well, let's look at SpaceX, because this is a perfect example. On the surface, SpaceX looks like a perfect company to invest in. It has rockets, it has Starlink, it has AI infrastructure, and it's been generating some serious revenue. Reuters reported SpaceX had a revenue last year of $18.67 billion, which was up from around $14.1 billion the year previously, and therefore will make it one of the most highly valued IPOs in history at 1.7 trillion. Planning to raise 85 billion in the public market, making it a very highly valued American company. In fact, that would make it higher than Tesla. So for context, Nvidia is listed with a valuation of $5.2 trillion. Next you have Alphabet, which is around 4.6 trillion. So SpaceX isn't quite on that size yet, but it is close to Tesla's 1.7 trillion and Meta's 2.18 trillion. But here's the thing, Morningstar is valuing Tesla at only $780 billion. That's around a $1 trillion gap. Now, I'm not here saying Morningstar is correct, but there is a lot of debate at the moment on whether this $1.75 trillion valuation is actually correct or not. And well, I'm not surprised, because when you look at their profits, you begin to raise a lot of questions. So SpaceX made a $791 million profit in 2024. But that swung to a major $4.9 billion loss in 2025. Now, that's certainly not me saying that SpaceX is a bad company, because growth companies can burn through cash. Infrastructure companies can spend lots of money, and AI can aggressively spend to grow. But this is exactly why rushed index inclusion becomes controversial, because you are not just buying the future of space. You are buying a founder-controlled, AI-linked space and satellite business with massive expectations, recent losses, limited public trading history, and a valuation that professionals disagree on by billions of dollars. So if that does get through, what happens next?
Well, this is where we see the forced buyer problem, because as an active investor, you can wait and decide when to purchase a stock. You can look at the valuation, you can look at the historical performance, you can look at the forecast, and you can see how it's performing relative to other competitors. However, as a passive investor, as soon as that stock reaches all of the minimum benchmarks to be able to go into an index fund, that creates a mechanical demand, and you cannot choose whether you want to hold that stock or not. So all of a sudden, ETFs get rebalanced, stocks get sold off, and you have an index fund which looks a little bit different to what you originally invested in. And what's really interesting to note here is that Reuters actually said that SpaceX would not be allowed into the S&P 500 index at the moment, simply because of its massive loss, because of its 12-month trading requirement, and also because of its low free float. So S&P 500 investors may be protected for now, but Nasdaq and FTSE are certainly not. And that leads me on to the next problem. How much stock is actually going to be available to be purchased on exchanges? Just because SpaceX has a 1.75 trillion market cap doesn't mean 1.75 trillion shares are being put onto the market. And this is all to do with the low float problem. Now, this is where the headline valuation can become quite misleading, because if SpaceX lists for a valuation of 1.75 trillion, that does not mean it's putting 1.75 trillion worth of shares on the public market. You're only getting a very small slice of this. Therefore, when it does list, you may only be getting a very small slice, because the investable market value will be completely different to that headline valuation. And that's exactly why index providers use a free market float. So these crazy valuations may seem scary, but an index is not necessarily treating $1 trillion valuation as investable from day one. In fact, it's a little bit different because it depends on how many shares are put on the market. That being said, it's still going to be a massive investable amount. Take SpaceX, for example, with their $1.75 trillion valuation, and let's say 5% of shares are available to the market. That still means investable on day one would mean it'd be $87.5 billion. That's a serious amount. So whether you like it or not, these AI companies are coming to market, and they're coming to market quick. We're going to see them likely IPO in September or as early as next year, and they're going to be the biggest IPOs that we have ever seen. Whether SpaceX actually reaches this $1.7 trillion valuation remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure is that indexes are changing their rules, and they have changed them to allow these IPOs to get into the index. And well, it's not really that controversial. They've changed it for one reason, and it's because they need the market to better suit what they were using previously. Before, it was smaller companies. Now it's much larger companies, and they are bringing in much bigger valuations. So whether they do get listed into an index, we'll have to see. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and if you can, please hype this video.